My guest in the Nimataion today is David Rankine, and together we're spinning a yarn. David, you're an author, researcher, sorcerer. You have published so many seminal works in the field of the Western esoteric tradition. It's an honor to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
David, what has been your favorite childhood story?
Uh, when I was 9, on Christmas Day, uh, when I was opening presents, one of the things I got was The Lord of the Rings, which um, I then spent the whole of Christmas Day and Boxing Day reading. I literally did nothing else. I didn't watch any television. I did nothing. So I read The Lord of the Rings in 2 days. Um,
That's
I
an
was
accomplishment.
I was a very fast reader. I was taught to speed read at school when I was 7. Um, I thought I had a talent for English, so that I got extra lessons after school. And one of the benefits of that was learning to read very quickly. So yeah, Lord of the Rings really hit me. It was such an epic work. I mean, I suppose the first work of that magnitude that I had read, and it really blew me away. After I read it, my older brother said, "Oh, you should read the Silmarillion because that's the one that comes before it."
Yes, that's the
So I
one.
did, but you can imagine at 9,
No, no,
it
that's
was a
too
bit like
early.
I was reading the Bible. It's like
Yes.
a creation story, and then there's all these like wars and people dying and stuff, and all these things that go over a vast period of time. And Silmarillion really didn't do it for me like
Mm.
Lord of the Rings, but the Lord of the Rings really gripped my imagination. I think that really got me into sort of fantasy as a genre, and um, I just really enjoyed the scope of that book. It was, the world building and everything in it was amazing for a youngster to get their head into.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my first encounter with the Lord of the Rings very vividly. And to this day, it's one of the worlds I am always coming back to. And for me, it's the Silmarillion. That's this gigantic scope of mythos and the world Tolkien discovered, as he
Mhm.
always said. He was not the inventor, but the chronicler of this world. Um, so, did you? How did the Lord of the Rings influence you in your further life then?
But I really liked the character of Gandalf
Mm,
in Lord of the Rings. I really liked the fact that as a wizard, he only used his power when he had to. That he would look for other solutions to things. That I found him like a fascinating character, particularly as the Gandalf the Grey. Earlier in the
yeah.
book, his character I thought was just such a clever character. I mean, he was very devious and manipulative in his way, but um, I think the way he did use magic as well, obviously that kind of had an impact on me because I'd always been fascinated by mythology. I started reading mythology books when I was about 5, 6.
Mm.
So I'd read like Celtic and Norse and Greek and Egyptian and different mythologies. And so Lord of the Rings also struck a chord there from the point of view of seeing parallels of stuff with things like Norse mythology and stuff in it and the Celtic. And um, yeah, it just really, I think, fired up that sort of interest in magic in me. I think that's probably the biggest single influence. And I also loved the way that the whole of the Fellowship all had their different arcs. You saw the different character developments of them, and that nobody, no matter how insignificant, didn't play a role.
Mm.
And I thought that was a really important lesson as a child to appreciate that there's always value in a person, no matter um, how it might not seem at the time. Somebody might be really down and out and on their luck, but it doesn't mean that they lose value as a person. And so when I first read it, some of the characters I really didn't like very much. like Merry and Pippin, for example. I wasn't, but then as a teenager, and I was like, oh, and reread it, I grew to appreciate them a lot more, and particularly with those two, particularly like the way their character arc started from them being these sort of carefree hobbits who didn't really think about much or anything to becoming sort of mature, more mature sort of adult types who stepped forward and stepped up to stuff and accepted the consequences of their actions. And so yeah, I think it was also a lesson in valuing people and appreciating that we're always undergoing a process of change in our lives. And I think The Lord of the Rings really exemplifies that. I think few books have done such a good job of character development
Yeah.
as Tolkien did in Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Yeah. And the value of friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. How often did you read it?
How many times have I ever say I've read it? I'd say I've probably read it about 6 or 7 times now over the years.
It's one of those books you can read for so many times and you'll discover new things every time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the only book that I've ever written. So it's what you now call fan fiction for.
Mm,
Um, I was a lot younger then. I mean, we're talking like the mid 70s, so it's before, so it was really a thing. But after I read it, it inspired me, and I wrote like a short story in which the Witch King of Angmar wasn't actually killed, but was like driven away and comes back to be the power of evil in the next age.
hmm.
And that was the sort of plot behind my short story that I wrote. Because I felt the Witch King of Angmar was quite a fascinating
Yes.
character in the book. There's not enough of him in there.
Mm, mm. And speaking of Tolkien, we also speak of languages, of course. Did The Lord of the Rings also influence your love for old languages, or was it there before?
No, I would say it did. As soon as I went to a grammar school, excuse me. So as soon as the option was there, I took Latin.
Mm,
So French was compulsory. I did Latin. Um, I started doing ancient Greek in my spare time, but then the teacher who was providing the lessons for that died, so that kind of came to an end. And unfortunately, because of the way back then the choices were structured for the O levels and the exams, I couldn't take German as well, which I'd wanted to. But yeah, it really did inspire me to sort of look at languages more, and also I think my love of like great literature.
mhm.
I would think The Lord of the Rings is responsible for that. Made me through my teens like delve into a lot of what are now considered what people talk about the classic works. So going and reading stuff which is completely unrelated to the fantasy genre. Reading things like Charles Dickens and Shakespeare, and um, it was just an incredibly inspiring book.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for so many, it is one portal into the imaginal. And yeah, I can completely uh, follow there. And you opened this portal for us today, David. Thank you so much for another glimpse into this world and into yours.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Great speaking to you and looking forward to it again soon.
I'll do. Take care.
The world is magical.